Yes. Before you watch this video, I would recommend to watch my PKI playlist, which I already uploaded in my YouTube channel. So where you can find the videos like encryption, type of encryption, hashing, what is the difference between encryption and hashing, and additionally you can also see uh, chain of trust. Okay, now let's go back to our PPT. Now let's start with what is public key infrastructure. Okay, so public key infrastructure PKI, the main purpose of this PKI is to increase the security. Okay, so PKI is pretty complex and can be hard for people to grasp the initially. So because it's involved in encryption, digital signing, and certificate as well as. Okay, so PKI is nothing but the collection of our software, hardware, policy, process, and peoples and roles. Okay, so PKI help us to create, manage, distribute, and use, save, verify, and revoke our digital certificate, and also help us to manage the life cycle of that digital certificate as well as. Additionally, it's also help us in identifying the parties involved in the information share. For example, is there any communication will happen between client to server or any between sender or receiver? So it help us to identify the uh, help us to identify the verify the identity and also help us to provide the integrity of information which we have. And the purpose of PKI is to simply the security of online transaction. It doesn't matter like it's between uh, web server, browser, or VPN, email, or internet banking system. So main purpose of PKI is to provide the security of online transaction like SSL, VPN, email, and internet banking. It's used in situation like where password and authentication is not sufficient and require a strong authentication mechanism. So they can verify the identity of the party involved in the transaction. For example, web browser. I'm giving this example. So it's really like how they are identify like it's actually we are communicating with link between public key and the a person or entity to whom the certificate was issued. Okay. Now public key infrastructure component. So what is the component? So component like registration authority, certificate authority, central repository, certificate management system, certificate policy, and validation authority. So okay, so let's start with the registration authority. So it verifies the identity of the person or organization of entity which are requesting for the digital certificates against the known database. So it forward the verified application to certificate authority. So if you see when you open any uh, browser or system, there is a one database where all the trusted certificate are present. So that is we can say that it's a known database because it's a CS certificate provided by the certificate authority, right? So now let's discuss about the certificate authority. So it issue, store, and sign the digital certificate. So authority will like issue the certificates against the entity or person or domain. It will store and sign the digital certificate. Now third one is central repository. So central repository is doing like secure storage space where keys are stored and indexed. Okay. Fourth one is certificate management system. So it's enabled to access to digital certificate and issue them to the owner and management manage the certificate lifecycle. Fifth one is certificate policy. So certificate policy is nothing but like it's requirement or process for PKI. It enables the third party authority to verify the integrity of PKI. And last is validation authority. So it verifies the validity of digital certificate to ensure that digital certificate has been issued by the trusted certificate authority. If you are aware about the IPsec VPN, so all these uh, capability are also used in IPsec VPN. So that's why we say like PKI is used in VPN as well as. Uh, Now let's discuss about the public key infrastructure trust services. So trust services like digital signature certificate, transport layers security certificate, code signing certificate, time stamping, and email encryption certificate. Now let's discuss about the digital signature certificate. So digital signature certificate, like certificate-based authentication, is the method of authentication where digital certificate is used to identify a user, device, or machine, or software, or application. Application is usually authentication is usually done before giving the access to any resource, network, or application. For example, if you are accessing the bank website, so before it provide the resource, network, or authentication, so make sure we are properly authenticated. Authentication happen between our web browser and server. Certificate evacuation like fail or authentication would also fail, and user will be denied access. Like, so for example, for before I would suggest just watch my previous video about the digital certificate chain of trust, so you can easily understand this digital signature certificate part. Okay, first one is the certificate issued by trusted CA? Is intermediate CA and root are trusted? Okay, what is the expiry status of the certificate? What is the issue or expiry date of the certificate? Is certificate status revoked? Is this certificate revoked for any reason? Did the user provide the proof of ownership, where user are able to prove having private keys associated with this certificate? Okay, now transport layer security certificate. Okay, so mostly we are using this in the between communication between web browser and server. Okay, so transport layer security, like it's a TLS. It's a security protocol designed to facilitate the privacy and data security for the communication over the internet. Okay, primary use of TLS is encrypting the communication between web application and server, such as like web browser loading a website, and also a TLS can help us to encrypt the other communication like email, messaging, VoIP. Okay, main component of transport layer security certificate is like three: integrity, authentication, and encryption. Integrity, to confirm that data is sent across the network is not compromised. Authentication, like certificate, authentication, like certify the identities of communicating the parties are who they say they are. Uh, Third one is encryption. So we are transferring the data, but make sure our data is encrypted. So no one can our middleman attack happen between our communication. So this is the data transfer from the third parties. Okay, now next one is code signing. So code signing is the process of digital signing software. Like for example, we are installing the software like VLC, Chrome browser. Okay, executable binary script source code to identify the publisher of that software. Okay, so code signing ensure that software has not been modified, tamper with after signing the software. So hash values are used for this purpose. For example, if you can also verify in some application website or not, they are publishing the hash value. So you after downloading, you can cross verify the hash value as well as. So code signing ensure that software has not been modified or tampered with after the signing the software. So security of this system of identifying and authenticating the publisher depends on the security of the private key that what used for the signing. The integrity of the entire system is dependent on the software publishing security, securing their private key with the high confidentiality. So we have to store our private key, right? So we are always recommend to store all the private key in secure. AWS also providing, Azure is also providing. So it's also available in cloud as well as where we can store our private keys, secret. Time stamping. So time stamping is the process of secure recording the creation and modification time of the document. So for example, I'm creating or doing any modification of the document, it's stamping the time. The output of process of this call, we can say that like trusted time stamp. So secure means ensuring that after this document is timestamped, the document cannot be modified, including the owner of the document. So it's adding a trust. So adding a trusted security, like increase the integrity of the system and provide the secure record of date and time of that transaction. Trusted time stamping authority used to securely document the date and time of the transaction, like digital signature or code signing. uh, Email encryption. So email encryption divided in three parts, like email validation, individual validation, and organization validation. So email validation, like for this type of certificate, like only email address and website domains are validated. For example, I'm sending a mail like google.com. So it's validating only address and website domain are validated. And now second one is individual validation. So for this type of certificate, identity of each individual is validated. Like this certificate will contain the email address and the owner name as well as. So to obtain this certificate, a government issue ID for individual is needed, and email address should be validated. Last one is organization validation. So the purpose of this validation is used to verify the existing and operation of giving specific organization before issuing the certificate. So for that, getting OVS Miami certificate is very similar to getting OVTLS certificate. Yeah. Thanks for watching this video.